Yeah, it's a lot of good stuff. I want to, wrap things up with one last question, sort of, looking into the crystal ball. If you look ahead, say 3 or 5 years from now, where is private cloud, going to be? Are we still going to be talking about private versus public, or is that term going to be falling away? Are all clouds going to be hybrid clouds? So Sam, when you look into your crystal ball, what do you see for private cloud in the future?
Yeah, I think the future is hybrid. It's interesting, as Joe shared his slides, kind of mapping out and segmenting the different private cloud use cases, or the different, hybrid cloud use cases. The one that seems most elusive is the very first one, where you've got some app, it's bursty, and you want it to, mostly live on your private cloud and kind of build for the average, so to speak, and then spike into the clouds. And the examples of folks doing that, at scale and achieving the efficiencies of the vision, I think are much fewer and further between than some of the other examples. Doing failover to another data center. In some ways, those are hybrid cloud washing. Can we call? It's a lot of stuff.
Why are you calling it hybrid? Work with me on that one.
No, I was saying it's hybrid washing. If you
will. Yeah, okay, right.
Kind of a lot of stuff that we've done before, and kind of calling it, putting it under the umbrella of hybrid cloud. To be fair, a totally valid thing to do, but that core use case, I think, still. Remains to, there's still a lot that needs to happen in order for that to become more prevalent. And I think, over the next, 3 to 5 years, we'll see more of the pieces put into place, both organizationally as well as from a technology perspective, to support that. And I do believe that that's the future.
Joe, what do you see a few years out for private cloud, or are all clouds going to be hybrid?
I don't really see, that big a qualitative difference. I think you're going to see more and more workloads move into the public cloud, but I don't believe in that the end state scenario is all public. I think that in every other industry you look at, it's a mix of private and public. So people own their cars, yet they also rent them. They own homes, yet they also stay in hotels. They get electricity from the grid, and yet they've got increasingly solar cells on their roof. So as the economics have shifted for private versus public, you're seeing a greater adoption of private electricity clouds. And so, back to the point that, economics plays a large role. While the electric grid was much cheaper than do it yourself, then that was a smart thing to do. And if you can generate your own electricity, on a sunny day and store it, then, why pay somebody else and incur transmission and distribution losses? Back to Sam's point, the cloud bursting scenario, is a little bit elusive in terms of simplicity, and a big part of that is the data gravity issue. And so I wrote a post probably 5 years ago called 4.5 Ways to Deal with Data in the Cloud, that was trying to address that, but it's still very real, because unless it's stateless, then you don't have that many options. You've got remote data access, which can be costly. You've got trying to replicate the data during a cloud burst, which just takes too much time for anything that's non-trivial. And then you have some bidirectional mirroring technology that exists, but it's really more for the metro area. So you've got these sort of imperfect technologies, but I think that, there are solutions subject to, the ultimate difficulty of, if you have a really large database, then you've got inertia, as Dave McCrory has pointed out in that data gravity stuff. So, so that's the issue with the pure, clean, elastic hybrid. But on the other hand, you do find some things where that's really easy, and a good example is Sony Online Entertainment, which does have a cloud bursting strategy. It's maybe not for a core application the way you would think, but they do their own content delivery for things like, if you're interested in an artist, that goes into an enterprise data center. But what they found is they had a pure private cloud strategy, and when Michael Jackson died, all of a sudden their data center was getting all these hits for people that were just, wanting to watch Michael Jackson videos and things like that, and their core e-commerce system went down due to the load. So their new strategy is it's a cloud burst for the catalog portion, and a private cloud or even legacy architecture, you might say, for the e-commerce portion, so that they serve everything themselves because they can do it cost effectively. But then when they do get these unpredictable demand spikes, then they leverage a public cloud provider and let the customers go directly to the cloud provider and get that content, because first of all, the data is not changing in real time. It's songs and pictures and whatever, and it's not enormous, right? It's not a multi-exabyte database. It's probably large, but it's nothing that can't be pinned in some public cloud provider at relatively low cost. And then as a spike comes up, there's ways to pull it out of cold storage and make it available with lower access time. So those kinds of things, I think, really represent what we normally see all over the place, which I don't mean to use the term hodgepodge in a derogatory fashion. It's a, let's say, complicated hybrid of technologies, best practices. It's application or application module dependent, and it's using the best of what's possible as it's appropriate.
I think the word is heterogeneous, Joe.
Heterogeneous.
A wildly heterogeneous environment. Michael, we look to you for the future to tell us what's going to be happening 5 years from now in private cloud and/or cloud computing. What do you say?
So I think over time, we have to remember that cloud computing really is in its infancy. And as time goes by, we become much more comfortable in general with cloud computing. There's more and more growth in cloud computing, and what we'll see is the cost of public cloud resources, the economics shifting dramatically. I mean, just for example, recently, if you look at file sharing, the cost of file sharing and file storage in the cloud with companies like Microsoft, Amazon, Box following suit, after Google made their price cut announcements. So the economics are shifting. And as I said earlier, cloud is the pooling of resources, and so as those pools become larger, they become more efficient. They become more efficient technologically, they become more efficient economically, and from an innovation standpoint, that's where the innovation is going to be happening. At the same time, there are valid reasons for companies, in some cases, to keep their data in-house, and that data gravity problem that Joe and Sam mentioned is real, but also over time, the ability to integrate and to have data flow seamlessly back and forth between different clouds, among different clouds, is also going to increase, because cloud is not standing still. So I think the future becomes more and more cloud-ridden, cloudy. I use that term.
Cloudy, okay, great.
Cloudy with the chance of hybrid.
There you go.
What's that? Yeah. So there you go.
It's
Cloudy with a chance of
increasingly
hybrid,
clear that it's increasingly cloudy.
Increasingly
Indeed.
cloudy in a hybrid kind of way.
I greatly appreciate the expertise of the three of you. I'll send you a link. I'm going to edit this just a tiny bit, just top and tail, and we can all promote it and tweet it. But the two of you really shed a lot of light on this, on the topic. Thanks a lot for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you, James.
Oh, actually, we need a pause.
Too.
There we go. All right, I think we earned that. All right.